NZ Aerosports, Icarus Canopies, now Gyro. That's right, we've rebranded, and Gyro is our next generation. It honours our founder, as that's the name we knew him by, but Gyro also marks the start of a new chapter. And not to be biased, but it's going to be fucking epic. Long story short, we're more us than ever. So if you're new to the sport, or even a Sky God Ninja Turtle, welcome. I think our valiant leader Lucy, Gyro's daughter, says it best.
And we still got that fuck yeah attitude. Rebrand! Woo!
Rebrand woo indeed, Lucy. Anyway, head over to gyro.com for more info and get amongst you legends.
I was 19, broke, unemployed, and sold my girlfriend's canopy for drug money. So I thought I better sew her a new one. What a sentence, and what a story. This describes the humble yet outrageous beginnings of NZ Aerosports, the home of Icarus Canopies, in the words of our founder himself. From getting a paratrooper toy from his mom, watching parachutes at the DZ as a 6-year-old, jumping off the wharf with a parachute made from bed sheets, doing his first jump at 16, sewing his first canopy on a borrowed machine at 19, and starting to sell parachutes out of a garage in 1986, Paul Gyro Martin had an undying love for the sky. Our company started with one man with the wildest of spirits and a true blue sky dream, a renegade. In the time that Gyro created and ran the Icarus Canopies brand until he passed away in 2017, he pushed everything he had to its limits. We miss him, and we always will. Gyro is the next generation of NZ Aerosports. It honors our founder, of course, because it was the name we all knew him by, but Gyro the rebrand also marks the start of a new chapter, our next jump. Gyro is the space between sound and silence, art and science, chaos and calm. Gyro is a state of epic tranquility that transcends understanding. That moment, in the door, in free fall, mid-swoop, where nothing but the present exists. A perfect balance of euphoria and thrill. Gyro captures our passion for flying and our commitment to designing break-the-fucking-rules canopies that deliver pilots pure, wild flight. Hey gang, so I got a new book out. It's called The Upside of Fear, and it's exactly what you think it's about. It's about the good side of, well, getting scared. In it, we talk not only about the science and biology behind fear, but the psychology as well. And it's not just coming from me, it's coming from some of the best in the sport. Omar Alhigelan, Jeff Provenzano, Maxine Tate, and so many more have contributed their sometimes terrifying stories to the book to help you overcome your fear. So head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com. You're going to find the link to the book there, as well as the other books. It's available in ebook, paperback, hardback, and audiobook right now.
Coming straight from the cockpit, it's another episode of Lunatic Fringe with the fucking pilot.
Ready, set, go. All right, once again, fucking pilot coming from the can. Got another victim in the chair across from me. Who the fuck are you?
Hey, well, I shouldn't remain anonymous, should I?
No.
There'll be no fun in that. Norman. All
right, Mr. Mark Norman. Mm-hmm. Mark, you and I have known each other a long time now.
We are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've definitely run through some of the same circles.
Yeah.
So, well, hell, let's start at the beginning. First off, you're a skydiver.
Uh-huh.
Long time skydiver.
26 years.
It's a long damn time.
Yeah, it is.
How did it all begin?
It all started with my dad. My dad's a pilot. Has been since he was a boy. And I was brought up on an airfield at the weekends.
Really?
Gliding.
Nice.
Gliding's his thing. Still to this day.
Really?
Yeah, he runs the Ulster Gliding Club, which is the oldest gliding club in the UK. And, my weekends were spent in the air.
Nice.
And when it was my time to sort of go and start doing that, I had discovered girls and beer and fuck gliding.
Right, yeah, indeed. That's a little too subdued.
Yeah, that's your thing, old man. I'm out of here.
A little too subdued.
Yeah. which I realise now, of course, is, you know, that's one of our bonding things whenever I go home.
Sure.
Him and I go flying.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is. It is. And in fact, what I need to do, and my intention is this summer, is to go and get my ratings on the glider, because he's getting to a point now in his near 80s
Sure.
where it's not going to be going on for much longer.
It'd be time for you to take him flying.
And I want to be able to have that to give back to him, you know.
Isn't that cool? Full circle.
Yeah, it is. So he's big into researching, and he wants to build model railways now.
Nice.
He's preparing himself to get away from this.
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing.
So this is where my sort of fascination with aviation started, you know.
How did it morph into going from gliding to wanting to jump out of planes?
Oh man, I wanted to jump, mate. I wanted to jump. Now my school, I went to a boarding school, and they were all into outdoor activities. You know, we had cadets. I was in the commandos. You know, it was crazy. Well, that's because I got thrown out of everything else.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, so I kind of they put you in this. This was the troubled children and those who really wanted to go for it. And I wanted to go parachuting, and there was an opportunity to go and do a static line jump. And I was 16 years old, and I was beside myself. I couldn't wait to go and jump out of an aeroplane. And I got caught smoking. I always got caught smoking at school, always. Gated to the house for a week, a £2 fine. Yeah. So, I mean, just from day one at each term, I was always under house arrest.
Sure.
And my parents wouldn't let me go. They knew I wanted to do it, you know. And my mum's freaking the fuck out. Jumping out of a plane, what the fuck are you thinking? You know. And then when I got caught smoking, it was like, you're not fucking going. And, you know, that kind of sort of went by the wayside, and I felt sorry for myself for a long time.
Sure.
And then I went to New Zealand. I decided to jack everything in. I'd been school, college, work, serious job, you know, short haircut, la-di-da, corporation, all that stuff. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? You know, and I'd saved a bunch of money. I'd sold my soul to the devil. I was working 100 hours a week. Oh. It was crazy. And me and a girlfriend at the time decided, right, we're hoiking out of here. You know, and that's what we did. We disappeared.
And this was how old?
Oh my goodness me! So I am I'm 48 now. Yeah, and so that would have been, I was 22, 23.
That's really young to realize that you're on the wrong fucking path, man. Most people hit their mid-30s before they go, wait, what the hell am I doing? So
yeah,
good on you for figuring it out.
I just, mate, they pushed us so hard at work, you know, and just the responsibility of it all. It just, I woke up one day and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing here?
So you pissed off to New Zealand?
Yeah. And I did my first jump there, a place called Lake Taupo, with a guy called Vaughan Brady.
Taupo's still one of the most famous drop zones in the world. Oh,
amazing. And just the whole thing was, I don't know, you know, the universe has a funny way of conspiring. So it does. And we went, I didn't sleep the night before, thinking about jumping out of a plane. Oh my God, jumping out of an aeroplane, full power. And we got geared up. We got dressed up. We went out on this car, out to the aeroplane, got on the thing. The plane was fired up, getting ready to go, and shuts the engines down, everybody off. We're like, what the fuck, you know? And well, the wind is coming, and across Lake Taupo, which is a huge lake.
Sure.
Yeah, 26 miles, something like that. You could just see these white tips, you know.
The white caps start coming at
you. Yeah. And the wind came, and so we stood down for 3 days and waited. But those 3 days I spent with the skydivers. Whew, what a bunch.
Oh, I'll bet.
Wow.
Especially 3 days with a bunch of skydivers that can't jump.
You know, and they were my kind of people. Really, truly. Party animals to the max, and just, dude, the way these guys interacted with the ladies. And, you know, there's a bar in Taupo called the Holy Cow. Yeah, and that was their local horn. And this place is just jammed full of tourists all the time. And we went there every night, you know, stayed at a backpackers waiting, but every night we hooked up with these guys. I hung out at the drop zone a little bit during the day. And, man, I don't know, I've just felt really drawn towards this lifestyle, these people.
Sure.
And off we went, you know, I did my first jump. They put me up next to the pilot. I forget what aeroplane it was. I remember it was a twin. And Vaughan Brady, like I said, I'll never forget his name. Fuck, I was shitting myself. And in fact, I don't even really remember it. But this guy hooked me. We're flying up. Perfect day. You can see all the peaks, the volcanic peaks across New Zealand. And this guy hooked me up. hung me outside the door of an aeroplane, and my whole world went blank. And I remember landing.
Yeah.
That was it. And I was trembling like a leaf.
Yeah, I bet.
You know?
Well, and it sounds to me, like you were hooked before you even had the harness on.
I think so, and then to actually feel like that without getting whacked out on something.
Oh, yeah, no, you can't bottle that kind of thing.
No, I was like, wow, this is me. I'm producing this shit. Holy, wow, okay, all right, I need to learn this. Yeah, we hear that all the time, which, of course, 26 years down the road, you do. You hear it
Sometimes people actually do mean it.
Oh, it's crazy.
A lot of people say it, but sometimes they actually mean it.
Oh, it's mad. So we moved from there down to Wellington, and that's where we were going to base ourselves for this 18-month jaunt around New Zealand. And this was, 2-3 weeks later, and I see this van driving past with a big logo on the side, Learn to Skydive. I'm like, what? There's the number. I start dialing it, Hello? Yeah, what's up, mate? English guy in New Zealand. I'm like, you teaching skydiving? He's like, yeah. I'm like, hold on. Now I went running across the road. He was stopped at a red traffic light, and I jumped in his van. And he thought he was being robbed, mate. This guy, Mac McCarthy, was having a fucking heart attack. And I'm like, it's me on the phone. I'm like, I want to learn to skydive. Man. You got to teach me how to skydive. I was beside myself.
Awesome.
I just held this thought so high in my mind that I wanted to go and learn to be a parachutist, come hell or high water.
Isn't it amazing when you actually, and most people never get to experience it, you just get slapped in the face with something that you have to do. And it's such a freeing knowledge. I have to do this. There's no choice. This is going to happen. Yeah. And there's something really freeing about knowing, no, I have no option. This has to happen.
Yeah, truly it was, mate. And I put myself on this path. 5 months it took to get through AFF.
Wow.
So there's two factors. Was the weather. I started at the wrong time of the year, and I was a really shit student.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I have never met another student since, and I've taught a lot of people to skydive, who had to do as many jumps as I did. I did 25 jumps to get through AFF.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot.
I failed level 5 9 times.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
9 times.
Well, let me ask you, though. You said you've taught a lot of people how to skydive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing that one of the reasons you've got the rapport you do with students is because you sucked so bad yourself.
Yeah.
It would have to be.
Yeah, absolutely. I relate. I get it.
Because, someone that breezes through the course is not going to be able to understand why you can't just fucking turn left.
Oh, those Superman.
Why can't you do that? And so if you had to fight for every bit of it, I would think it would be a lot easier for you to...
I had to fight for it. Oh, God knows I had to fight for it. I pulled myself out 4 times
really?
On that course, spinning so hard. I'd get this arch signal, allegedly, I can't remember, and I would just spin. I'd drop a knee and off I would go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so you were one of those ones they were drawing lots to see.
Oh, mate, I couldn't seem to relax, And in fact, I didn't relax for a long time. It took me a long time to really see the aeroplane going away from me.
Right.
But, it was this notion in my mind, I am not leaving this country without my parachuting license. I'm just not doing it, So it was more pig-headedness and stubbornness.
Yeah, fair enough.
That really sort of pushed me, because this was something that was really challenging me,
Indeed.
And,
well, I mean, you're not only having to try and learn what can be relatively difficult things, but you're in as high a stress situation as you can possibly get.
Yeah.
It can take a while.
Mate, there's a lot of noise going on inside this head of mine.
In there?
Yeah. It always seems...
Absolutely.
It seems to be the biggest obstacle when you're teaching someone.
Of course.
It's quieting down the noise. It's not the actual action of getting out the door and pulling the parachute. It's like calm the fuck down, mate. Just shh.
Yeah, because you're being hammered on all sides with everything else that has nothing to do with what's going on.
Right.
Wow, so you basically just beat your way through this course.
I did, but it was amazing because we had that, that 5 months, that 6 months, and then obviously the rest of the time that I was in New Zealand too, I got to go in the rigging loft. This guy, Matt McCarthy, was all about it, He was all about rigging, learning to pack. So I learned an awful lot about parachuting before I even really got near it,
Well, you gained a lot of knowledge that some skydivers never gain.
Sure, and it was, it was an invaluable indoctrination into this wonderful sport,
Sure. Now, when did it click that you knew you weren't just a a tourist in skydiving, but
On AFF, I met this guy called Andy Fricker and another dude called Reese. And Reese went off to become an Air Force pilot, flying fast jets and whatnot else. And me and Fricker, well, we just became drunk skydiving bums, bro. It was fucking amazing. We used to have this midweek club where we knew we couldn't jump. We just couldn't go jumping, because it wasn't the weekend.
Sure.
So we would go and rappel down car park buildings, and we would find a building, that anything that we could tie a rope off to properly at the top, and we would just go pegging it, running it just to get a buzz,
Sure.
These guys were mental, absolutely mental, and more so than me. I'm a little bit reserved, mate. I always look at things and go, well, hold on.
Sure.
Right. But
something still gets you over the edge.
Yeah, and again, the camaraderie was the thing, and yeah, that was it. We went bungling around after we kind of got our licenses and whatnot else. And in fact, we didn't even have licenses. Once we'd gotten through AFF and had started working it, we went and bullshitted our way around every drop zone in New Zealand that we could find, driving around in my Lada.
It's funny. Everybody that I've talked to so far, it's been a very common denominator. Is everyone's talks almost more about the community of skydiving than the jumping itself.
Oh, for sure. It's the people. It truly is. And even with the idea of being in a tandem operation, it's not so much the action of jumping and whatnot. It's the people you meet each day, who are coming in and. Oh, I'm scared. It's like, all right, well, hey.
Well, and I think you're a lot like me. If I look back at my career now, I started out hating doing tandems, but to ask me now, my favorite way to skydive is taking a tandem.
Sure.
Because either that or shooting a video of it, because you're feeding off of what you can still vividly remember it was like, and it's just like being back there again.
Oh, it's hilarious.
And it's the gift of being able to give that to somebody else, and it's fucking funny.
Truly. Oh my God, you have no idea, mate. My face, 2 days ago, my face hurt. I got home from work, and even at the end of the day, one of my buddies comes up to me, goes, Norman, I've got another one. I'm like, dude, I just can't come and watch it. He's like, why not? Italian bloke, and he's like, come on, Norman, come check it out. It's so funny. I'm like, mate, I can't. My face is hurting, mate. I'm like, it's too much.
It never does get old. It really doesn't.
Oh my God, mate, no.
So you get through the course and you knock around New Zealand, jumping all over the place, but skydiving's taken you all over.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, I went back home to the UK first of all. That was well, it wasn't, because Mac McCarthy, he's a Brit, a soldier. Very military in his training, very sort of like, this is how you'll do it, and which I needed, I definitely needed that, because, and it came as a surprise going back there. Holy shit, rules, regulations, you're going to do this, you need a badge for this, you need a badge for that, went walking back with a dodgy old rig, like, we don't need your stinking badges, and they shut you down pretty quickly.
Yep. I've definitely heard it's a hell of a lot more regimented. Well, and I did my stint in New Zealand as well, and granted it was after you spent your time there, but it was still the Wild West.
Yeah, and New Zealand's great, that's a very big touristy sort of thing, but this was a very small drop zone in a place called Masterton, just slightly north of Wellington. But going back to the UK, that was something else. That was round parachutes, no squares. Round parachutes. The weekends, mates would come in on a Thursday. I went and hooked up at this place called Chatteris, North London skydiving, they call it. It's nowhere near North London.
But it sounds good.
Yeah, so, well, as a marketing tool, we get the people in, you're there. And this guy called Dave Harrison, Dodgy Dave they called him, and he truly was. What a character. Holy shit, I've met some characters in this sport. And he sort of like took me on board, and I moved into a caravan on the drop zone rather than going and living at my home, which was like 8 miles down the road. I was just obsessed.
Oh yeah, well it's all encompassing.
Yeah, and I learned to pack the rounds and do all that malarkey and talk people down, and got my static line rating there, and that was
so your instruction, you started in the UK.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty tough, though. I mean, UK is not exactly known for a great skydiving weather.
No, it's crap. That's why I left. Yeah.
So you started getting ratings there, and you started kind of getting your chops in the UK, and then you ended up, is that when you ended up in the States?
Well, no, see, Andy Fricker, your man who I was talking to you about, he came over to the UK shortly thereafter I went back, and he was He was like, hey, not banging on the door. Hey, Norm, I'm here. I'm like, well, what the fuck? But he had promised he was making his way over there.
Right.
And, sure as shit, there he was, banging on the door. So him and I hit it off, and we were at the drop zone as much as we could be. We went from that operation there to another place. So that would be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday and Tuesday, we went over to a place called Sibson. And then Wednesday and Thursday, we went to a place called Langer, which is a bit further north. And we just, I had the car and whatnot, an MG Midget, which he nicked one night drunk and crashed.
Oh.
Bastard. I never forgave him. No, I did forgive him for that. But yeah, he dinged my nice motor, mate. My little baby. Tried really hard to get jumping, and it just wasn't happening.
Sure.
And Frick came across a bunch of money. Yeah? And he was like, well, fuck it, mate. Why don't we go to the States? And, well, that was it. I was like, yeah, all right. I'm like, well, I'm pretty skint. I was doing a bit of landscaping as well in between. I tried to find a job when I got back to the UK, and they wanted to pay you £3 an hour. I'm like, £3 an hour, for fuck's sake, really? This is not living. And so I started my own thing, just doing landscaping and a couple of mates' gardens and whatnot else. So I had a little bit of money coming in, and the packing obviously helped. And all the rest
absolutely.
Of it. But living on ramen noodles and support from the family. And Frick's like, I'll give you £1,000, mate. He's like, I'll buy you the ticket. I'll give you £1,000. Let's go to America. I'm like, fuck it, let's go.
Absolutely.
Packed the bags up, told me old dear I'm off, and my old man, and they're like, son, if it's making you happy, just be careful.
Yeah.
Just be careful. And off we went, got on an aeroplane. I think that was, what was it? That was February the 22nd, 1997.
All right, very cool.
Yeah, I did. Took that aeroplane over there and landed in a tropical storm in Florida, and ended up on this Lacey Hurd ended up on her couch. We got dropped off by this old boy called Mike Myers, little Dutch dude. He's like, hey guys, how's it going? When he picked us up and stopped at the Waffle House. That was my first experience of American cuisine. Oh man, that was, I don't know, that's good stuff, man. Them hash browns.
Well, it definitely fits the lifestyle.
Yeah. And so this guy called Andy Grimwade owned this drop zone called Sebastian in Florida. And it was thriving at the time. He had two twin otters who owned it with a guy called Freddie Brown. And I rocked up there, and we rocked up in the morning after we'd woken up at Lacey Hurd's house. My God, she's a trip. And there it was, two twin otters flying, buzzing, teams training, the whole gambit. I turned around and said to Frick, I'm not leaving. That was it. As soon as I got there, I'm like, I'm not leaving. He's like, well, I'm not fucking going, mate. I'm like, we had a 3-month visa. I'm like, I ain't going. I'm staying here. Yeah.
Awesome. So into Sebastian, which, Florida was skydiving mecca back then.
Oh, yeah.
It was. Yeah. There were other drop zones out there that were well known, but anybody was in Florida.
It was good value, mate.
Yeah.
It was just, wow, such a self-contained environment. And, Andy Grimwade, he'd done such a good job of, putting the team rooms in place, just really having a drop zone that was wholesome, and everybody was living in the campground out the back. There was Swanson, Zipser, just a whole bunch of, legends in the sport.
Yeah.
Who were all just hanging out. Chris Lynch, the XL team boys. Everybody was living together.
For sure.
And there was just this community thing going on.
And again, that's the hook.
Yeah, mate.
You're hooked in.
I just saw the two planes flying. I'm like, I'm fucking going.
Absolutely.
The rest of it was all just started coming as a bonus.
Sure.
And I went and saw Grimwade. I'd sort of emailed him and asked about work and whatnot else. And I wandered in his office. I'm like, hey man, I'm Norman. I'm here. He's like, go fuck yourself. You piece of shit. That was it. Go fuck yourself, you piece of shit, he says to me. I'm like, well, fuck you, And he looks at me and goes, yeah, you're all right. And I think maybe it was just one of those tests, And that was Grimmy, mate. He was always tested everywhere.
I love this sport for exactly that reason. I worked for a guy in Skydance in Davis, California, Ray Farrell. Famous in the sport, and famous for being a bit of a hard ass.
Yeah.
And I started working for Michael Hawks, who was far and away the biggest prick skydiving ever saw. Fucking hate that guy. I'll never have a nice thing to say about him. And so I'm trying to get a gig in between working at Cross Keys during the summer, and I'm back in California in the wintertime. And so I walk into Skydance, and somebody tells me to go talk to Ray. And I knock on the door, and Ray's relatively famous in the little world, so I knew who I was going in to talk to. And I sit down, and he's being all gruff and hard-ass, and he won't even look up from what he's doing to talk to me. And it's supposed to be some kind of interview, but he's just being a douchebag. And so he finally gets around to looking at my CV, and he's so you work for Hawks out in Vegas, did you? Yeah, sure did. He's if you survived him, I guess you'd probably do all right here. And I look at him in the eyes, and I'm like, Ray, if you're twice the prick people say you are, you're still only half the prick he is. And Ray fucking looks at me like he couldn't quite figure out, and then he finally just cracked a smile, and he says, welcome to the team. So same thing.
You got work.
Absolutely. Yeah, so throw that fuck you right back at you. Absolutely.
I can feed myself.
So you go in and you pass your test, and they put you to work doing what?
Maintenance. Bog rat, cleaning the toilets.
All right, you went that route.
Yeah. I took over from a guy called Rob Silver. So I did. It was awesome. I got up in the morning, mate. So what Grimmy allowed me, God bless him, I love that man to this day. So I do. And what Andy did for me was he paid off my bar bill and food and drink. So he did. He'd give me like $100 a week, and I could jump as much as I want, so long as he didn't need me for anything, so long as my jobs were done. Now everyone had been doing maintenance up to that point had kind of been a slacker,
Sure.
Me, I saw this as an instant way to fucking bang the jump numbers up. So I was up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I had that place scrubbed. And I did. I spent about a week scrubbing everything first.
Right.
Something that was instilled in me by my ma and by school.
Sure.
And so I scrubbed it because then it's easy maintenance, isn't
it? Sure, yeah, absolutely.
Once it's all nice and tidy, ship shape and shine. And, Grimmy took a shine to that because he would always wander in every morning. And his first thing was, good morning. And he would wander around every bit of the drop zone.
Sure.
And check that it was all in good order, the fuel, the bathrooms, the shower rooms, everything else, the zoo bar, making sure that it was all good to go. So that was my gig, dude. I'd up at 5 in the morning, scrub the place, get it ready for the day, and then first load would be there. I'd be there with a rig on that I'd begged, borrowed, and stolen. And, hop and pops, until it was like, hey, check in, we need you for this, we need you for that. Boom, I'd run off, I'd get it done, get back, get on a plane.
Nice.
Yeah, I did 800 jumps my first year there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So now you're talking about getting up into the jump numbers where you can start pushing to work.
Oh, fuck that, mate. I wanted to free fly.
Really?
Oh, yeah. No, I was a dirtbag. Are you kidding me? Long hair, bare feet. Yeah,
nice.
No, I didn't want to... ratings...
Nice.
Here's Olaf Zipser, here's Adrian Nichols, here's, Johnny Loken is just some of the most amazing, incredible free flyers. Swanee.
Back when it was all brand new.
Jason Orban, all bringing this, this whole new kick to things, mate.
Yeah.
And Adrian Nichols was the boy who took me under his wing,
He's got a hell of a name there.
Yeah, mate.
Big time.
Yeah, truly. He was like, you're going to kill yourself. And I was like, well, that's pretty fucking observant, Adrian. How about you hook a motherfucker up and teach me what I'm doing wrong?
Right.
And I knew I was in a danger zone at that
Sure.
point. I really was, because my ego was sort of like outweighing my skill level.
Sure.
And he did, God bless him, man. He took me under his wing and taught me how to free fly and, serving pizzas and getting the feet out there.
Nice. Yeah, pizza delivery.
Yeah, just that whole thing.
Now, he was protege to the wingsuits.
Patrick de
Yeah.
Guiardon. Yeah. Him and his missus, Katerina, they used to use the rigging lofts upstairs, and they would sew together the first suits.
Sure.
With which were Patrick's design.
Sure.
And him and Adrian and Patrick were hardcore. They were really into this whole idea of bringing this idea forwards. And Katerina would sit up there. I'd sit in the rigging loft, mate, and just watch. I did a lot of the loft. After a period of time, I started living in the loft.
Sure.
And that was a blessing in disguise. So it was. But yeah, sewing those suits together, watching that, and
isn't it funny that you were there when that started, and look what it's become now?
Oh, it's crazy. You know?
that was the absolute beginnings. Was in that loft.
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it was.
And now the whole world is just awestruck and inspired by these absolutely insane YouTube videos of guys doing shit that's just not possible. All because of that.
Oh, man.
Because they stitched some wings on a jumpsuit.
But it is possible, mate.
Yeah, right?
It really is.
It's just epic.
Even just being in the air and watching them go by, you know, and then they give you a big flare and you're like...
Yeah, to watch a skydiver go up.
And up and up and up and stay up and stay up and stay up, and then the drop afterwards is so slow that they're on level with you for 15, 20 seconds. I don't know, maybe, you get that extended time.
Stretches, sure.
It's a long-ass time.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, it's amazing. I went and watched Matty Munting and Nick Scalabrino. I went and hung out with them in the Swiss Alps this summer. And they were jumping off this, Diablerettes was the name of the place.
Okay.
We're up 9,500 feet.
Sure.
Fuck me, man, I was terrified. I climbed down to this exit point with them to get pictures, But man, wow, where they were doing this and where they were going.
Oh, I bet. I've actually got Munting's going to be stopping by at some point to have a chat with me. I think I'm going to need to have you come back and translate for me, though, because half of the people in the States will never understand a damn thing he says.
The guy is a legend.
Yeah.
He is, mate. And my face is always sore hanging out with him.
Well, you know what cracks me up about him, and one of the coolest things about him is he's a lot like Rob Stanley in that he's just that fucking excited all the time.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to get to the level that he's at, that any of us are at really in the sport, and still maintain that childlike excitement.
Yeah,
This
that's
guy's
him.
just fucking stoked.
Oh,
which is
he's
awesome. It's
fucking
infectious.
frothing, mate.
Frothing, absolutely.
Mate.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. I may need you to come in and.
It would be a pleasure, mate. The guy, I love the boy to bits.
So you're in Florida. You're delivering pizzas all over the sky.
Yep.
You're hanging out with people that would end up being some of the biggest influences in modern skydiving.
Yeah.
Where does it go from there?
Me? Okay, so I spent a year at the drop zone. I didn't leave the first summer. I lived in a tent. I lived in a tent for 4 years when I first went to the US. Well, no, that's not strictly true. About my third year, Freddie Brown, who was Grimmy's partner in crime down at Sebastian, he let me have his trailer, that he had there. And so I got into a caravan, man. I was living large.
Yeah, that's big time, isn't it?
Yeah. But after the first summer, Lyle Presse, Flex Vision. Yeah, Lyle Presse, I used to go and help him make goggles. So I did. He's God bless him too, man. Lyle Presse hooked me up when I first got there. And in the summertime when there wasn't a lot of work going around, at the drop zone, and then I would go and help Lyle at night, sit in his house and make goggles.
Awesome.
And he was off on a tiki tour up through the centre Midwest, all the way up to the top, and then across the top and back down. So we stopped at every single drop zone on the way up. From
that's
the bottom
amazing.
of America to the top of America, and then across to Buffalo, and then down to the drop zones in Boston, the ranch, and ended up at Cross Keys. And there was a few places. Most of the places on the way up weren't busy all the time, and I'd heard about, these drop zones that were really busy and could put you to work and you could really do, get a lot of jumping in. And that was my thing, that was my sole idea, was just, I want to skydive, and I want to do it a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
And ended up at the ranch. That was too manic for me. I mean, holy shit, mate. That place, it, probably even still to this day, mate. It was too much for me. I foresaw there an untimely demise if I decided to say, Lyle, I like this place, I'm staying here.
Right.
And the next stop on was Cross Keys.
Oh, what a place.
It was a busy Saturday. I mean, the place was humming. But some dude getting his pilot's license, a student, had planted a Cessna of some description in the trees about 30 foot up. So obviously, not gone right the way to the threshold, not put enough power on, but I don't know. was in the trees, mate. The drop zone was shut down when we arrived.
Oh, no.
But it was a busy Saturday
Sure, so
afternoon.
it's packed.
And so it's packed with lots of people sitting around scratching their arse going, all right, we want to skydive. And there was a couple of people there that I knew, John O'Gordon, Warren Grasky from Sebastian, who, were transient.
Sure.
When the season's over in Sebastian or down in the south and you move up to the north.
Sure.
That whole thing of how it works. And just straight away I was like, man, you know what, Lyle, I'm staying here, bro.
Yep.
Yeah, this is it. I'm going to stay here. And I went and introduced myself to Johnny Eddowes, who was very amicable.
Sure.
You know, and he's of British heritage. His parents are both Brits, and they'd emigrated to the States some time back. So he took a little bit of a shine to me, and kind of hooked me up.
Very cool. Now, what year would this have been?
Oh my goodness me! So that was maybe summer of '98.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
So you were at Cross Keys at the beginning of it really kicking off.
Yeah. I mean, the demographic there is incredible. There's maybe 100 million, 80 million, 100 million people within a 100-mile radius of the place.
I mean, you got Delaware, you got New York, you got Philly.
Washington,
just, up to
Boston,
all of Jersey and out to Atlantic City.
It's huge. You know, so pulling in people there is not too difficult, especially if you advertise, and he did advertise hard on local radio, on stuff like this, did lots of demos.
Well, now, so you get there and you're still doing the odd job thing and just jumping your ass off for the pure joy of it, which, by the way, I got to tell you, I'm jealous because I started working in the sport before I knew how to skydive.
Right.
Which a lot of people do. And thankfully, I'm at a point now where I get to go fun jump now.
Yeah, sure.
And show how little I actually learned over all those years because I've got kids flying circles around me and I love it. But you finally get to you're at Cross Keys and you're doing all this. When did it transition to work for you?
After I got fed up packing so many tandem rigs and sport rigs, that is thankless work.
Great money, but it's terrible.
Oh my goodness me, it just never gets any easier. No. It doesn't. And I packed a lot of parachutes. I'd wake up, my hands would be just curled over, and my fingers all swollen. I had a boatload of cash in my pocket.
Sure.
But, man, there's got to be easier ways to
it. No, it's some true suffering there.
Yeah, and, I just the amount of tandems everyone was doing there, the amount of video, they were earning good bank and having a blast doing it.
Oh, yeah.
They weren't on bended knee all day long with, I can't even, it was John who was the packer. He was in charge of the packing.
Yeah, John O'Gordon was in charge of the packing man for a long time, wasn't he?
Dude, that was brilliant. It was some of the best times of my life was with John O'Gordon on there because he likes drinking, I like drinking, we all like drinking.
Sure.
And we would load up a fridge hidden in this little sort of like cubby hole at the back of the packing.
Yeah, I know the spot.
Yeah, and he would get pissed off, or at least pretend to be pissed off. You lot, in my fucking office right now, busy on a Saturday morning. Right, and we'd all go in, tenants. Don't you remember and we'd pop a few beers, crack a few tinnies, have a couple of drinks, and we would get to work.
Awesome.
We wouldn't get stupid with it, but
sure.
That was the reality of it.
Sure.
It really was, and so it was really enjoyable. But goddamn it, I tell you what, we worked hard.
Sure. Yeah. Eventually, it was time to put the parachute on for some money.
Yeah. So I decided to get a tandem rating. And I was already doing video. I had my first video camera quite a while. Every single jump,
Sure.
At least pictures, video, but more importantly was the video.
Yeah, absolutely.
Video cameras were just getting to a point where they were small. My first one,
heart openings were survivable.
Yeah, I kind of, the stilettos is where I sort of walked into it all, for
me as well.
High performance parachute.
Yeah, me as well.
After, a cruise light was one of my first parachutes. That was brutal. That thing, 7 cells, it would never open. It had like 1,000 jumps on it, 0p. It just wouldn't open. It would never open, man.
Right.
It would never fucking open. I'd always land it with 5 cells.
Right. So you chucked drogues and were shooting video on Cross Keys for a long time.
Tossing drogues. More, you did one or the other there as far as the weekends
Sure.
went. You were either doing the video or you were doing the tandems. And, me, I'm a people person. I thoroughly enjoy getting stuck into people and taking them from the ride and teaching them the lessons. Hey, look, check it out. This is how the parachute works.
Absolutely. Well, it's a very easy thing to fall in love with doing.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
So you were bouncing back and forth between the Florida and back to Cross Keys seasonally, so doing the gypsy thing.
Yeah, 100%.
When you did that for a long time, because you and I didn't cross paths until 2003 when I got hired on at Cross Keys. And wow, was that a reality check?
Yeah, it was getting a bit mental then.
Holy shit, man. Because I had come from Vegas that had the least party drop zone in the world because everybody was making too much money and the drop zone owners were all mental. And I got the job. I actually talked to Edos, as a matter of fact. I was working for a guy by the name of Eddie out in Vegas. We'll leave his last name out of it.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Oh, yeah. And that little shit, that little shit didn't like me so much because I could get laid and he couldn't.
Yeah, well, that's because he's a horrible cunt, mate.
Yeah. I think even he'd agree with that.
Yeah.
And he called. He found out I was trying to get work at Cross Keys, and I was only trying to get work there because all I had heard about Cross Keys was it was the busiest drop zone in the damn world. And if you wanted to make some serious money, that's where you go. Yeah. So I'm thinking, the responsible choice is I got to get this job at Cross Keys. Ooh. So Eddie decides he's going to call up John Edos and do nothing but talk shit about me. But John Edos, God love him, is halfway through the phone conversation, and he just asked Eddie, he's also, you don't recommend hiring this Dean guy? Oh, fuck no, guys, this, that, and just talked all kinds of shit. And without blinking, John went, well, that's exactly why I'm going to hire him. And he hired me on the spot. Which was fucking fantastic.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Oh, yeah. And I get out there, and I think I was at Cross Keys for about a week. And I had gotten out there thinking I had shed all my past is gone. Man. There's no more, and I had gotten saddled with the nickname Princess out in Vegas because I worked with a bunch of Brits, some of who you know, that nicknamed me Princess because I didn't drink alcohol and I used to be a stripper.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, all right, I've driven literally across the entire country. No one knows me. I'm free and clear. I get to just go beat Dean. And I think I got there late on a Tuesday night and parked my 17-foot pop-up trailer in the parking lot, put that thing up and went to sleep. And I woke up because I heard somebody walking past the trailer going, well, that guy doesn't know where he is. All right, fuck, I must have parked in the wrong spot. I'm starting out good. And so I get out of the trailer and I put it all away and I go walking into the hangar and it's dead empty and super quiet early on a weekday. And I put one foot through the hangar door onto that red carpet, and I hear this squeaky British voice from the other side of the room screaming, hey, are you Princess, that stripper from Vegas? Fuck me. God, are you kidding me? And somebody from Vegas had called and said, hey, you hired this guy. Here's the dirt on him. So that was my introduction to Cross Keys. And then a week later, I'm sitting in the pea gravel pit under a substantial, the effect of substantial amounts of chemical entertainment thinking, what the fuck?
What happened here?
This is the responsible choice? And I had initially been offered the job not through John Edos, but through who was at the time the drop zone manager, who I'm sure you knew very well, and I only knew in passing, Paul Rafferty.
Right on.
So when I found out what happened to Raf...
Oh, brutal, dude.
Oh,
brutal.
Were you there that night?
I was, mate. I was a conscientious objector from the moment they decided to put that car on there and was told to fuck off. Shut up, Norman, fuck off. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? You can't put the car on the fire. You know we can't do that. We're not allowed to do that, mate. Because we'd have to go down to the fire brigade at the weekends.
Sure.
Because it's an airport and... sign up paperwork, you know. We got on well with these guys. They come out on a Saturday and squirt the hoses so that we could swoop under them. And they loved us, you know. Remember the safety day training with all the harnesses they made to get us out of the trees? And, you know, they were a good bunch of guys, man.
Absolutely.
And I was told to shut the fuck up. And so I went and saddled myself up in the corner out of the way, you know, and flames were licking out of that car 40 feet in the air.
Yeah, for those that haven't heard the story or don't know, they were just having a stereotypical Cross Keys party, and it was a massive bonfire.
A season opener.
And who was it came up with the idea of taking a car and parking it on the bonfire, setting the car on fire? It was just one of the crowd.
Maybe we should just leave it at that, you know?
All right, fair.
Yeah. I mean,
somebody,
I could give you names, mate. That would just be unfair at this point.
Let's just say a Cross Keys gypsy decided to park this on.
Yeah.
So it went from bad to worse.
Oh, it's crazy, mate. I've never seen anything like it in my life.
So they parked the car on the bonfire, and then what did they start doing?
Then, you know, the thing had been burning 30-odd minutes, you know, and a car burns very intensely, in case you've never seen a car burning.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it gets up to ridiculous temperatures, over 1,000 degrees nearly, I think. And this thing had flames coming out of it 40-odd feet up in the air. Everyone was gathered around it. There was 150 people, 200 people there. You
Sure.
know, it had been a great day jumping and whatnot else. And a guy called Will Longiness decides in his infinite wisdom that he's going to run across the hood of the car while it's on fire. Well, sure as shit, off he went, straight across it.
Sure.
The manager, Paul, turned around and said to an old boy, come on, wait, let's give it a go. And someone's like, nah, mate, nah. And he'd had a few, you know, and that was, you know, he'd been there about, I don't know, a month, 6 weeks, something like that. And he'd been as good as gold, but this was his, you know, his
First big.
hurrah. And he tried to run across and the hood of the car, and as he stood on the bonnet that had been burning for so long, you know, with the engine block underneath it, his shoe melted and he fell inside the burning vehicle. Well, you know, he's a strong old boy. He was ex-special forces and whatnot else, and he pulled himself out the other side, quite literally pulled himself out the other side of the car in front of all these people. I just hear, "Wah!" You know, just you can tell something's wrong.
Oh,
and I
yeah.
see Will Longiness go running past me like a bat out of hell, and just get on high alert. You know, something's not right.
Yep.
He comes running out with a fire extinguisher with a couple of black fire blankets that we had in the hangar. And I went running over and had a look, and there was Rafferty lying on the ground, mate, and he wasn't looking good, dude. You know, he had the inside of the car's really hot.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, it singed all the hair down onto his head, and you know, it melted all the hair. Oh dear God, mate! But he was lucid and chatting and joking, and he tried to pull all the. He was wearing like tracksuit pants.
Sure. Well, they
You know,
probably
and
melted
all
to
this
him.
stuff.
I'm
Oh,
guessing.
dude, it was just brutal, mate. You know, and they airlifted him out of there, and he was dead the next day. You know, he had 97% or 96% third-degree burns all over his body. I mean, you can't even imagine just inhaling 800-degree smoke. That's it. That's
Oh yeah.
an instant
Oh
death
yeah.
sentence.
You just fried everything on the inside,
Yeah.
but to add to that bad a burn all over the body.
Stupidity, mate. It's, you know, just the whole thing didn't end well.
Krusky's had a long run of amazing, spectacular, incredible times, and
Yeah.
a run of bad luck
Oh, my
too. It
goodness
seemed
me.
like it was always the good and the bad were so close together there.
Yeah.
I mean, we in the time that I spent there was a fair amount of tragedy.
Yeah.
And it was never you heard this or that. It was an in your face kind
No, yeah,
of thing.
100%. It was very eye-opening, you know. It's how not to do it.
Oh yeah.
How not to do it, for
Oh,
sure.
the big one
Yeah.
for me was Kusky.
Well, that was brutal.
Oh man, I'll never forget. I show up to the drop zone that morning, and by then we're pretty established. I think I'd been there for maybe 3 months. So you know how quickly you become friends with people, and you're just one of the crew, just like that. And I was walking through the hangar, and Craig Kusky and a whole bunch of people. I think it was like a Tuesday or a Wednesday, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's laying flat on his back on the packing mat, obviously hammered off of his ass.
Oh, for the whole night before he'd been out
Oh,
partying
yeah.
like the rock star he was.
Oh yeah, and he looks up at me and says, "Hey princess, would you do a swab for me?" Fuck off, no way, not a chance in hell.
Although,
And unfortunately, he got somebody to do the damn swab for him, and ended up getting in an airplane and making a jump. Shitty ass hammered drunk. What did he come back like 2.0?
oh, I don't know.
Like triple the
Dude,
legal
he'd been
limit.
partying all night. They'd been doing all the good stuff as
Oh,
well
yeah.
as being drunk and
Oh,
all the
yeah.
rest of it. Plus, they were drinking first thing in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And there was an exchange of pilots because the regular pilot there was Jono. And Jono,
Yep.
as soon as he saw him or Fricker getting on the plane,
Yep.
was like, oi, up here,
Yep.
right now. I want to breathe. You know, I want to at least smell you're not drinking. All right, sit down, you know. Or if they were guilty as, you know, charged, then it was like, get the fuck off my plane.
Yeah.
You know, what are you doing?
It ended up being crow flying that day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. He just got the job there, you know. And like Jono had, you know, neglected to sort of give him the info, but, you know, just hadn't told him about this whole idea of custody. And why would you?
Well, and when
know?
you're brand new,
Yeah.
especially as a pilot, when you're the brand new guy, you're not going to be pointing to people and going, "Come breathe in my face."
Yeah.
Yes, Kusky gets in the plane, goes up, makes the jump, and never opened his fucking parachute. And the fucked up thing with Kusky
He
was
did a two-way.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was doing a two-way with Fricker. They decided they were having a low pulling competition.
Oh, yeah.
This is what went on there. Yeah. Okay, so him and Fricker. Kusky's on his back underneath Fricker.
Yep.
Yeah. Fricker Cypress fires.
Yep.
All right. He's in good shape. Kusky flips over. Apparently, you can tell. You know, he had his pilot chute. He hit the ground so hard, it's hard to tell, mate.
Yeah.
Well, we reckon that he flipped over, went to pull normally, and then went, holy shit.
Oh,
and
yeah. Oh, he didn't even...
He tried to get the reserve out, you know, because it was neatly over the top of him.
Oh,
when he hit
yeah.
that concrete.
Yeah,
man.
oh, no,
You know?
believe me, I'll never forget that. And of course, the twisted part of that story was his frickin' Cypress fires. The only reason that Kuskies didn't fire is because he took it out because they were getting too expensive to replace because he kept firing the damn things. When he went in, I was standing in front of Monkey Claw, the little team room, and I watched. I looked over and I saw him at Treetop, and then you heard that stick of dynamite sound go off. And I turned to Damo, one of the other instructors, and because it just didn't register. And I'm like, what the fuck was that noise? And he just looks at me with this sober face. He says, that was Kusky.
Yeah.
I raced over and I got in my truck and I raced down Dahlia Avenue and I saw Frick sitting under his reserve looking pretty fucking dizzy.
Yeah, down at the Red House.
Oh, yeah. And so I saw him and I'm like, all right, he's okay. And then I saw the parachute on the concrete.
Yeah.
And I got over to Kusky and you're right. He had the reserve was draped over him and his face was kind of turned to the side. Not a cut, not a scratch, no blood, nothing.
Unbelievable, eh?
It was crazy.
Yeah.
And you would have sworn he was going to dust himself off. And I ended up doing the whole checks and checking his pulse and all that, and there was just nothing left, you know.
There we go.
Oh yeah. Well, and when Kim Worthington introduced me to Craig Kusky 3 months before, she flat out introduced him as the guy that's going to be next to go in and cross keys. And
Mate, do you know what? As God is my witness, I tried so hard with Kusky. I did. I took him under my wing. I was like, mate, I lent him parachutes, please, dude. Just calm your jets, bro.
Sure.
Get this right. You got a whole life in front of you. But you know what? You just can't tell some people, mate. And it's not, I guess it's not your responsibility to keep hacking away at it.
No, I mean, you can only do so much.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, people are responsible for their own future.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, he'd been banned from the drop zone the season before. Towards the end of the season, he'd moved down to Florida. He started dating this mate of mine. And he'd come back up to Cross Keys. And I seen him. He walked in. I'm like, oh, man. I'm like, dude, I'm done. I'm like tough love sort of thing.
Right.
I'm like, I'm done, mate. You're too much bother, mate, to handle. After 3 seasons of really trying to get Kusky to sort his fucking shit out, mate.
Yeah.
Hooking himself in, Cypress fires left, right, and centre. It was every jump was an event.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. And I don't think it was ever going to end any other way for Kusky. I think that was just how it was going to go.
It's destiny.
Yeah, that's how it was going to go.
Absolutely.
Well, and poor Crow, who was flying the plane, over the next couple of years, he was the pilot for multiple fatalities to the point where they started calling him the Angel of Death.
Yeah.
I remember, I think it was the second or third time that we had somebody go in or something, and the FAA was looking for him, and he wasn't even at Across Keys. He was abroad in one of the planes, doing the boogie circuit thing. And he had a fatality, and somebody was all freaked out that the FAA wanted to talk to him, and he cracks a beer, and he's all, it's not my first fatality, man.
Yeah.
They'll wait. Because he'd been there before. I mean, wow.
Some people, mate, they just, they're there when these things happen. Eh?
Yeah.
Yeah, Cross Keys got brutal, mate, for a little while.
It
That
really
wasn't the only
did.
one. There was Seth Blake, there was Sarah, and her boyfriend Ron.
Yeah, that was a hard one for all of us.
my
Dude, I
God.
still post Sarah's picture every 4th of
I
July.
see it. 4th of July, man. She was special, dude.
She's Sister Sarah.
Yeah, born again Christian, came in with her Bible, fucking way, and everyone just took a real shine into her because she was a very bright light.
Oh, yeah.
But she, yeah, mate, such a tragic day that was.
Absolutely. Well, and I was down at Wildwood doing the helicopter boogie down there,
Uh-huh.
and of course we got told the news
No.
and had to keep jumping because you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah,
And I remember
yeah.
being literally in tears in free fall for the next 3 jumps.
Yeah.
Couldn't talk to
Yeah.
my students. And,
I was there, mate. I watched it happen.
yeah.
I was over it. It was brutal.
I'm really glad I wasn't there for that one. Yeah, that
I
one.
just taught a class on canopy control in an AFF ground school.
Yeah,
and
that
I had, I'm
canopy
like,
collision.
right, let's go and watch this. Let's go and watch some parachutes land.
Yeah, that's
and
an instant
Ron
lesson on what
flew
not to do, man.
Straight into the back of her canopy, 100 feet, and whap.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, I remember in one of the coolest things about, skydiving in general, but specifically that community at that time, because we were so tight. I mean, we were 7 days a week, 18 hours a day together for years. And we went to her. It wasn't a funeral. We went to the Sunday Mass.
Right, yeah.
And they did a special
Dad's
Mass.
church, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was brilliant.
And I'll never forget Mark Cruzy. got up to say a few words. The priest invited him up, and so he goes up there, and you could tell that the normal churchgoers were a little standoffish because of the skydivers, and they were upset, and they want, obviously with something like that, a non-jumper wants somebody to blame. There's got to be some fault. Somebody's at fault here, And he got up there, and you could tell they were not scowls, but they were waiting just for it to be over. And he started the whole thing off by asking all the skydivers to stand up, and the whole back of the church. There must have been 150 of us.
Yeah. We
just
packed the place out.
Peeking into the doors and climbing over each other, and I remember hearing an audible gasp from the congregation as they turned around and went, "Holy fuck!" And instantly you saw their entire mannerism change, and it became oh, they loved her.
Yeah.
Okay,
for sure.
And it became this is okay. We're all supposed to be here now. Yeah, that was just an amazing thing. Horrible reason, but an amazing display.
Dude, I got on well with her. That was a shame.
Oh, everybody did
she gave
too.
me this Bible and she'd get it in the front of it. She wrote a bunch of stuff, and throughout it she wrote a bunch of stuff. But in the back of it, she wrote this one passage. And it still sticks to me this day, And,
for sure.
Do you know what? I was on the road. I kept that with me for years and years and years. And I was on the road with the Food Network, running around all over the country doing this camera work. And I left it in a hotel.
Oh,
I did.
Man.
Oh, mate, I did everything I could to get back there and try and find that Bible. Man.
Sure.
And they're just... it was supposed to move along.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
It was supposed to move along.
We've got such amazing memories with her. I mean, probably my fondest memory of her isn't one instance. It's every time she walked up and gave me a hug.
Yeah.
She gave the best hugs, and she'd look you in the eyes and tell you, "Dean, I love you," and you knew she meant it.
Yeah.
Which was just an amazing thing.
With all their heart and soul.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because people will toss around those niceties relatively easily nowadays, but she'd look you right in the eyes, and you just, oh shit, she's not kidding around. And it wasn't
She was a
guy
God-fearing
girl.
woman, man.
Yeah, no, it was an absolutely amazing thing.
Yeah.
So we definitely had some big times in Cross Keys, and some massive parties, and oodles and oodles of bad decisions, all of which were amazingly fun. But you backed off of it.
I did.
You finally decided enough with the party. I'm going to take a step back. What was the catalyst for that?
Girlfriend.
Yeah.
Girlfriend. Yeah.
They'll
Poo
do
nanny.
that.
Poo nanny.
They'll do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was kind of strict and square and straight. I mean, she liked skydiving, but she came from a kind of background that was not too party. And I hijacked that girl, mate. I was a raging lunatic at that point in time. So
I think we all were at that point in time. That's kind of what made Cross Keys what it was, because we were all
insane,
borderline fucking insane.
But I carried on the lunacy sort of like just more at home, Yeah. That still sort of went on for quite a bit longer, actually.
Wow.
With me. Ended up getting married to her. So I did.
Yeah,
Did
I
all
remember.
that good stuff. Still a lunatic, mate.
I do
but,
remember.
that was kind of a calming influence.
Sure.
So it was. I mean, I did, but yeah, God knows I did. I hijacked that girl. So I did. And then just, it wasn't working out. And I wanted to party more than I wanted a relationship with another human being.
Sure.
Which is the tragedy of, what I guess would be classed as addiction or, I mean.
Absolutely.
I'm a recovered alcoholic, I don't drink anymore.
Sure.
6 years sober now. And
cheers to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right.
I said that to the judge one time. He wasn't too happy. I got arrested in Philadelphia for being drunk in public.
Oh, no.
So,
you said cheers.
Yeah. TV screen with some judge, and he was like, okay, released on your own recognizance. And I was like, cheers, thanks very much. He's like, considering the situation, Mr. Norman, I don't believe that's an appropriate gesture.
Oh, that's awesome.
In a good American accent. I'm like, oh, he's such a douchebag.
It's funny because Cross Keys shut off the booze for you eventually. You finally used it to stop. But when I got to Cross Keys, I didn't drink at all. I never drank alcohol, in which nobody believed or nobody understood, because I came from Las Vegas, and I probably, I never drank anything. And I still to this day don't drink beer. But I get to Cross Keys, and of course I start hanging out with all the usual suspects and the in crowd. And next thing you know, oh yeah. And next thing you know, we're at the Plow and Stars in Philly, and everybody's just, dude, you got to at least have something, have a drink. And so the only thing that I could think that I could have that was mellow and wouldn't, tearing me apart was Smirnoff Ice.
There you go.
Bitch
Oh,
beer.
yes, yeah.
But all you
right.
fuckers, every time we'd go into the goddamn bar, I couldn't figure. I just thought, wow, these people are great. They won't let me buy my own drinks. This is fantastic. Little did I know that everybody that went to buy me one of those drinks would buy it, take a big swig off of it, and then get the bartender to pour a shot of fucking vodka in there.
Good stuff.
And now, of course, I can drink most people under the table. So my high-functioning alcoholism started in Cross Keys and yours ended in Cross Keys. So I kind of took that torch and carried it on for you.
Well, just a little bit after. I mean, I went through Cross Keys and then stopped skydiving for a while after Paul Josephs went in, with the tandem. I was like, you know what? I can't deal with this anymore, dude. Fuck. Going and pushing on people's chests, arcs, balls.
Well, and that was a hardcore one, too.
Dude. Oh, my God.
And that was the theme of Cross Keys, man. There were the rash of fatalities and the harshness of those fatalities.
Yeah.
I mean, PJ went through power lines with a tandem student, a birthday boy.
Yeah, 25 years old.
Fuck
right into
me.
somebody's backyard next to Home Depot.
It's very difficult to try and, for non-skydivers that are listening, right now we've just talked half of them out of ever going to make a jump because it sounds to them.
Go skydive.
Absolutely. But it really
Sport
was it was the fucking eye of the hurricane there, I mean, we'd get caught up in it, and it did the same thing for me. I mean, my party days started and ended with Cross Keys because by the time it finished off, I was just like you. I'm like, I don't want to do chest compressions again.
Yeah, no, I was done, mate. I quit.
Yeah.
I was like, I've got to leave here, mate. I'm like, fuck you guys. The level of supervision, and I would always go and say something, but I was always met with umbrage, mate.
Sure.
It was like an ongoing thing. It was like, oh, fuck you, shut the fuck up, which I've seen in many other places since. When you're talking about safety, when you're concerned about it, how those people who are in a situation that can actually affect a change, they do. They meet you with exactly that. Umbrage,
Of course.
They're like,
So Cross Keys,
all right.
Cross Keys went by the wayside for you, and skydiving went by the wayside for a while.
2 years.
What'd you do in the interim?
Started working in television. I mean, my interest in video, my interest in taking pictures,
Sure.
but particularly video, I scored a job. So I scored a job in a production company.
Scored a good one, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. My first job was on a Pepsi commercial. Ended up being I was a production assistant, but I was like 30 years old then.
Sure.
It was a while back. And I was raging up against 18, 19-year-olds. Well, that's...
Sure.
Yeah, it's no competition at all.
Yeah.
Just from a work ethic point of view and from a discipline point of view, which I credit skydiving with all of it,
Well, you go through the Cross Keys mill like you and I did, and you're doing an average of 25 plus tandems every day. Fuck
work,
me. And I'm sure you were the same. At the end of the week, if I hadn't done 100 jumps, I was pissed.
Yeah, that was hard work.
Oh, man, you're going to walk away with a work ethic because there's no way in hell you're ever going to get worked harder than that.
Yeah, and you have to be disciplined, because if you're not disciplined, that's when shit goes wrong.
Yeah, you take that kind of work ethic and that kind of ability up against a bunch of 18-year-old kids trying to get jobs in anything real. They don't stand a chance.
Yeah, that's it. So I sort of went from strength to strength in that with a lot of PA work in Philadelphia, making commercials, that sort of thing, and then kind of slowly went from the PA work more into the equipment side of things. Camera was my thing, going and getting these big cameras from New York and putting them all together, and then I hooked up with this one production company. These boys are amazing. 3 guys had started this company 20 years prior called Shooters Inc., and they took a shine to me and
Nice.
I took a shine to them, and they decided with a guy called Mark Summers, who's well known in reality television in the US, and if you're a bit older, you probably, he was on Nickelodeon with some crazy program that used to, they used to do all sorts of crazy shit with kids, and but he was well known. I didn't know who the hell I was working with there, but they started this reality TV show and it took off, Restaurant Impossible, no, Dinner Impossible was where we started.
Sure.
And I got the job of looking after the gear, setting everything up, breaking it all down afterwards, making sure that anything that was broken got fixed, got sent to the next place. And so we had a studio out in Jersey, in South Jersey, and take everything back to the studio or fly all this kit back. So it was a mobile studio that we had, and we'd go from place to place, 13 shows at a time. That's how television's done. But I got on the pilot show with this English chef called Robert Irvine. And fuck me, I was telling you, mate, crazy. Okay, so I'm pretty diligent with trying not to be late. Anyway, this one morning, fuck me, I've woken up late for this first job.
Oh.
As a production assistant, I'm fucking like an hour late. The phone's going, hey, where are you? Hopped in my Dodge truck, blazed a trail there. Sorry, I'm late. Now, TV folk don't fuck around. You know, that's a serious business, man.
Absolutely. That's money.
Plan everything to the detail. The work ethic in television is unbelievable. And I don't know. I got away by the skin of my teeth, so I did. And this fucking boy rocks up in his BMW at the beginning of the shoot. And over the radio it comes, hey, we need something out here, to clean the windshield. It's got bugs on it, because they want to shoot a shot through the windshield of the chef arriving for this first shoot. Sure as shit, so I go running out there, mate. I got the Windex and the cloth and whatnot else. I'm cleaning this dude's windshield, He's inside on his telephone doing his thing. Television people, we all shit out the same hole. That's how I look at life. I don't care what your station is.
Sure.
We're all very level pagans.
Yeah.
And so your man's in there. I shine this fucking windshield up, mate. I go around and I'm like on his window. He looks up at me and he winds the window down. I'm like, that's $10, please, mate.
You're right back to that fuck you test, huh?
Yeah, dude. And out of this car gets this behemoth of a boy, mate, Robert Irvine. He's a monster, mate. He's a big guy. He works out. He's got fucking arms and a chest out here. And he's like, well, you never ask an Englishman for a tip, mate.
And friends for life, right? Awesome.
You got it, mate.
Awesome.
100 something shows later.
That's fantastic.
So in between that, a couple of years later, I started jumping again.
Jumping just for fun?
Yeah, just really, skydiving's a calling, mate, isn't it? It's like being a nurse or a teacher or a priest or whatever it is. I think it cuts deep with some people and maybe not so with others. But
well, I think once you get to the level and the time in it that we have, you're a skydiver forever.
Yeah.
That's just it. I did the same thing. I took about 4 years off from jumping. I just lost the passion for it. For a while there, and it dawned on me that I was doing something that, for all intents and purposes, is really fucking dangerous, and I wasn't getting out of it what I should be getting out of it, and so I walked away from it, and I was lucky enough that I was still flying, so I'm still in the air, and I loved flying planes, but I told myself if I ever got nervous thinking about going out and making a jump, that it was time to go jump again.
Yeah.
And cut to 4 years later, a really good friend of mine, Junior, during a big competition, we had a bit of a lag time, and I wasn't flying, and there were some loads we could have gotten on, and he turns to me, he's all, let's go to a jump.
Yeah.
And I got fucking butterflies.
Oh, yeah, straight away.
And I'm like, oh shit.
Amazing.
That just scared the shit out of me that you even just said that. Fuck yes, let's go make a jump. And as soon, of course, terrified in the fucking airplane, borderline lightheaded, think I'm, getting dizzy. And I felt like I was more nervous than on my first jump.
Yeah, sure.
And this is thousands and thousands of jumps into it. And of course, you cut to the second you're out of the airplane and you're like, I'm back. Welcome back.
Wow.
Yeah, and you land and you're grinning ear to ear for a week. And the benefit to me is because I still work in the industry flying, now jumping for me is just fun. No more work. Now I'm out there delivering pizzas when these guys are all using Uber.
Sure.
Flying fucking circles around the old man, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, there's nothing better than seeing some 22, 23-year-old that's got a buttload of tunnel time. And they're kind of okay under their parachute, but they are just flying circles around you in the sky. Absolute ninjas, and I love it. I love sucking. It's so much fun.
It is.
I got nothing to prove. No one's watching me for anything. I'm never going to impress anybody, and I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's just enjoying it, though,
yeah,
isn't
absolutely.
It? That's it. Well, that was the same with me, mate. I just always, the whole time that I'd taken this break, I just kept looking up, always going, oh, man, what a beautiful day. Oh, would it be nice to jump right now, But when I did come back, I found first of all, in my mindset, was I wasn't going to allow myself to get burned out again, and if I felt that way, I was going to stop what I was doing, take a break, and not do that, because that wasn't the go for me.
No, well, we've all seen the burnouts. We don't want to be that
25 jumps a day, that's the seasons. That's boom, 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 and it the partying, just everything. It takes a toll. And
that lifestyle.
Yeah, and I don't know, I came back to it and I just could not wait.
Sure.
I went and did a tandem with a chick called D. Lucas. I think I dragged her out of the airplane. She was just getting into tandems. I think I was one of her third or fourth sort of like real people.
Right.
Fucking come on.
Awesome.
Awesome. Yeah, brilliant. And that was it. I was back,
Nice.
It was like that hook sank in again. And
nice.
away we go.
So you transitioned back into working?
Yeah. But like I say, I was kind of sick, dude. I was... I partied my way to 282 pounds.
Big boy. Well, I remember coming to visit you when I was down in Florida.
Yeah.
It was about that time.
Yeah.
And you were working with the Food Network at the time. And I remember saying the least sensitive thing I've ever said to you. I walked in and I went, "Holy shit, Norman. I thought you were filming for the Food Network, not tasting for them." Remember that? And I felt bad about it, but you were a big boy back then.
The pounds packed on me,
Sure.
The drinking, the calories, coming home, the beer,
Sure.
the beer eyes, looking at a fridge, going, what am I going to cook at 12 o'clock at night? And, and it got crazy, mate.
And here you sit coming over for the podcast on a bicycle, trim as shit and in great shape and
loving life.
No alcohol and healthy as fuck, man.
Healthier, definitely.
You look 10 years younger than you did 10 years ago.
Yeah, there's, dude, I can't tell you, that was hard. Stopping drinking was just the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life.
Had to have been.
Yeah, it was. I've never been as sick. And I did it twice. I quit once and I went into... I used to drink a lot.
Sure.
A lot. Too much. Way too much. And the first time I tried stopping, when if you're a good drinker and you detox from alcohol, any physician will explain to you that this can kill you.
Oh, absolutely.
This is the worst kind of detoxification there is. Heroin doesn't have a lick on it. And I went through that sitting in my own bedroom thinking I was dying, dude. I had 9-1 pressed on that phone.
Jesus.
In my house in Florida thinking, fuck, I'm dying here. I'm going in. My heart was fucking...
Sure.
Just crazy. And then 60 days later, I'd stopped for 60 days. I was bored. I was like, I got a handle on this. Went and had a couple of pints, and the next thing you know, I woke up 3 days later, and there was bottles of booze everywhere. And I say bottles of vodka, that was my thing.
Sure.
Man, I was on my hands and knees. I was like, fuck, this has got to change, man. I couldn't see it myself. I just couldn't see that where the change was going to kick in, because I really enjoyed the social aspect of it. And you know what? I enjoy the buzz.
Sure. Yeah,
let's be honest.
Absolutely.
That's I enjoy the buzz that the booze gave me, and I was on my hands and knees, mate. I was desperate, so I was, and I was talking to the universe, and knock on my door, and along comes this dude called Evan Bell, and dude, he saved my life. He did. I credit with him with just giving me the introduction to the people that I needed to teach me how to live a better life.
Sure.
Give me the tools that I hadn't been given.
Well, that's it. I mean, that's it. You get to that point and you can't see the path to take. You're just blind to it.
Oh, dude.
So have somebody lead you to that
stinking
path.
Thinking, mate. The alcohol clouds your mind so bad. Oh,
and
so pernicious.
And I'm pretty sure that sitting here now, you couldn't fathom ever being back there.
Hey, I could get drunk a million times, mate. I could absolutely get drunk off my face a million times. But
sure.
You know what I couldn't do is go through the detox, dude.
Sure.
Holy God.
And in a way, that detox is what that detox saved your life.
Yeah, and you know what? For the life of me, I've got no desire, mate. I don't. I mean, it was hard to start off with. I went through another 10 days of, again, sitting at home on my own. Shitting myself, puking up shit.
I'm just picturing. I'm picturing Train Spotting.
Mate, yeah, that's it. That's it right there.
Yeah.
It really is. You hallucinate, the audio hallucinations, the visual hallucinations, the palpitations. I didn't, mate, anything I put in me just instantly came.
Sure.
I lived in my shower for 2 days. You know, I just lived in the shower.
Yeah.
Heat regulation, I'd pull a blanket over me. I'd be instantly too hot. I'd pull it off. I'd be freezing cold. It is so fucked up. It's unbelievable.
Now, do you think your penchant for drinking heavily and the whole big party scene and all that is also part of what draws you to something like skydiving? Is it? Because skydiving's its own addiction.
Yeah. You know, I've got quite an addictive personality. That's why I've never started base jumping. You know, it's kind of like, oh, right, know thyself. To thine own self be true.
Oh, yeah. No, I've talked about it on both the other podcasts. I decided never to make a base jump because I knew I was going to be a dad, and I knew if I did it once, I was fucked.
Yeah. Do you know what? I travelled around Northern Europe this summer watching people base jumping in Norway and told you about Diablerets, Switzerland, and a few other places. And it's an itch that
if that
I need
got
to
its
scratch.
claws in you.
It's an itch I need to scratch at some point. Yeah, I know that.
I feel like that, but then, I mean, unfortunately, we've known enough people that have been doing it, and they're dramatically better at that kind of shit that I am that aren't here anymore.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, my desire is not necessarily to go, you know, bombing it down a canyon on a wingsuit, trying to get as close as possible. I'm older and wiser now, I like to think. You know?
Right.
And so I'd like to do it in an environment that's conducive to being able to do it successfully.
A good old bridge day kind of jump.
Yeah, you know, minimising risks, man. And that's what it's all about, isn't it? You know, with parachuting, with any sort of like endeavour that's got an element of danger to it, you really have to minimise the risks.
It's the draw to that drug. And, well, like you said before, on your very first jump, there's no drug in the world that can give that to you.
Dude, I was up the top of the Bliss Tower the other day.
Yeah.
Yeah, with a bunch of mateys jumping off for a movie.
Yeah.
So I was photographing. So I'm in a full fucking harness and whatnot else, standing on the edge over the top of them, taking pictures.
Yep.
Got down. I'm like, God damn it, I want to go jump. I want to fucking jump. Are you kidding me? This is 1,200 feet. I fucking want to jump.
Right.
I went and saw Scalabrino. I'm like, hey, Nick, you got a rig? You know, he's like, I got a 280 something. I'm like, you know what? Fuck, I should jump, mate. This is a skydive.
Right.
I can deal with this.
Yeah.
I just saw these mates hucking off. I'm like, fucking, what the hell? I can go do this.
Yep.
You know?
No, believe me, the attraction is definitely there, but I'm like you. I know that would be one that would be too tough to. And that's the one I won't go. Yeah. I won't go that far.
I don't know. Well, we'll see. You know, I'm definitely going to do it at some point. I promised myself that. I don't want to go to my grave thinking to myself, fuck, I wish I'd done that.
Yeah, for sure. For me, it's not. It wouldn't be a regret for me because I've come to terms with the fact that it looks really cool, but I just don't think it's for me.
Yeah.
So for me, it's a little bit easier.
Right on.
Yeah, for sure.
Well,
so you're back working in skydiving. You're keeping yourself from getting burned out. You're clearly enjoying it because you're traveling around
I love
Europe
it, mate.
and doing
It's
all
a
that
gift.
stuff. Is this the end game? This is
yeah. No, definitely not. Oh, no.
I wouldn't think so.
No, you know, I mean, photography is my thing. I love photography. You know, video I love doing. I kind of sort of like taken a step away from it because it's fucking hard work, mate. And people don't appreciate. I had a production company of my own at one point. People don't want to pay the money that, you know, for the hours you put in to edit in the video from 5 different cameras, you know, that have been filming for the last 10 hours.
Sure.
You know, sitting there going through 40 hours of footage, you know, to put together an hour's worth of, 40 minutes worth of video for them. I don't realise the extent of work that's involved.
Oh, of course not.
So photography for me was a great sort of change because you just, you know, quick edit on the pictures and whatnot, and away you go. I mean, obviously, you know, horology is my thing right now. So it is. This is the new. Each time I come back here, because I have a decent amount of spare time, I had decided when I first got here that when I understood the time available to me that I was going to learn a new skill each season.
Awesome.
Yeah. So watchmaking absolutely fascinates me.
That's awesome.
It does. You know, micromechanics, just so fiddly and finicky, and just the way it works.
Sure.
And so, you know, I've been reading lots of books. I've been reading books by a guy called George Daniels, Dr. George Daniels, who was an English dude, a Londoner, just a Renaissance man, a real common old boy who was like taking shit apart and putting it back together. And he ended up being the world's greatest watchmaker. You know, and he would sit with these tiny lathes and just put this shit together, you know, and he wanted to, you know, bring back English watchmaking, and there's very few people doing it, and, you know, I'm kind of inspired to do that, so I'm trying to save my money.
Sure.
I need to go to school.
Sure.
You know, skydiving's always going to be a part of my life.
Of course,
of course. It is. I'm going to keep raging here for the time being.
Sure.
You know, because it's a good gig, and I get plenty of time off over the summertime, and that's important to go and spend time with my family. You know, mum and dad are getting old. Dad's getting into his dotage, and, You know, the gliding thing I was telling you about, you know, I want to go
Sure.
back there and just be able to give some of that back. And we've got plans as a family over the coming years to sort of like bring my mum and dad over to where my sister lives, so that we're all able to, you know, stick together as
Sure,
a unit.
sure.
You know, having watched a good friend of mine's, my best friend at home, his mum, you know, 13 years with Parkinson's, and just watching that whole affair, and she passed away at the beginning of the season here, and I knew I wasn't going to see her any longer, you know, after I left her, and I went and saw her in hospital, and I'm
Sure.
like, you know, she's like, hey, I think this is us, you know, and I'm like, you know, you're a good woman, mate. And she was in her late 70s, but
Sure.
that shit riddled her, and, you know, she passed on, and you know, that's where I possibly see, you know, sort of like the end of all that is I'm going to have to go home. I need to take care of my folks.
Of course. Of course.
You know, and be part of that. But, you know, while God gives me the strength to keep doing this and doing it well and taking the enjoyment out of it,
Sure.
then, you know.
I think that's
that.
you and I are both lucky in that we've been in the sport for a long time, and even though we've had our ups and downs in the sport, I'll be flying super actively, and my phone is filled with thousands of pictures out the window of the airplane,
Yeah.
and I'll still take a day off to go jump where I work, and
Yeah.
there's not too many people that can say they go to work on their day off because it's fun.
Dude, I freak people out. They're like, "What do you do with your spare time?" I'm like, "Go back to work."
Absolutely, you know, and I'm relatively sure. I mean, maybe it happens, but I'm pretty sure there's not too many people sitting in cubicles that just rip their phone out to take a picture because it's just so amazing.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, I mean, I think we're everybody. You hear the best job in the world tossed around by so many different people in so many different walks of life, and as long as it is to them,
I
then that's
hear
all that
people
matters.
say that a lot.
Yep.
A lot. You have the best job in the world. And I say to them, do you know what? It's not lost on me, man.
No.
Your words are not lost
It's
on
the
me.
same thing I get, and I used to get it as a tandem instructor,
Yeah.
and now I get it when I take people
Yeah.
flying. You have the best job in the world, and I always nod and go, "Yep."
Dude,
Yeah,
it's a
you're
gift.
right. Oh,
It
yeah.
is. I tell these people when I first meet them, I'm like, you know, the parachuting's a gift, mate, that we can do this so safely in this day and age. After 60, 70 years of sport parachuting, you know, the pioneers that led the way to where we're at now, you know, where we can do, you know, the likelihood of having a malfunction on a main parachute is in the thousands.
Oh yeah, no,
As
it's
opposed to
incredible.
back in the day where it was like, you know, 1 in 4. You
Oh,
know,
yeah. Oh,
blue
absolutely.
skies, black death, you know,
Okay, yeah.
sport death,
Sport
yada
death,
yada,
yeah.
bounce bingo. You know, nobody knows what bounce bingo is, dude.
That's actually a good thing.
Dude, nobody knows what bounce bingo is. I'm like, what's up with you cats? You've never heard of bounce bingo?
No, not
Oh,
anymore.
what's the old man talking about now?
Well, so sitting back at this stage in your career, what are the takeaways you want to give to newer jumpers, up and coming skydivers, and what would you like non-jumpers that are listening to know? Because non-jumpers think we're a bunch of bat cases. They think we're, you know, batshit
Far
crazy
from
for the
it,
most part.
You know, for me, for people who don't skydive and would like to try it, you know, there's nothing holding you back. I mean, there's a lot of noise goes on in your head, and we manufacture these fears in our own mind that hold us back from so many things. Forget jumping out of an aeroplane. You know, it's fear of speaking up. It's fear of this. This is the what I take is, you know, I just don't get rid of the fear, man. You
Yeah.
know, that stops, and holds back so much in people's lives.
Sure.
It does, and if you can just, you know, quieten down that noise and go, you know what, I can do this.
Absolutely.
I truly believe, and I mean, so like this one chick that we jumped with today, she was praying the whole way up in the airplane, mate. You know, she was freaking out. I watched the video when we landed. I'm like, I am so surprised we even got you to the door of the airplane, sister. I cannot believe we got you out of it. Good for you. And we're walking back, and you know, from the landing area, and I'm like, you know, I don't know what this is going to be for you when you walk away from here. I'm like, but you know, you are amazing in my eyes. You just did the most phenomenal thing. You just challenged yourself in such a way, and I am sure there's something there for you. You know, there's
Absolutely.
a nugget, a lesson, a reward, and it's you know, it's yours. You know, it's internal. You know, we all take something different from it.
Absolutely.
And you know, this woman was terrified, but you know what? She walked on through, and we helped walk her through it. You
Sure.
know, and that's
It's such a privilege, isn't
that's
it?
the gift, yeah. And that is it. It is a privilege.
Yeah.
You know, and so for me, you know, that never goes away. You know,
No.
that when I think, am I doing something worthwhile? You know, because I truly think that we're all here to serve one another in
Sure.
one way or another. You know, and so that whole idea of am I doing something worthwhile?
Isn't that cool?
Yes, mate. Yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
your story kind of comes full circle in that you started out having a real struggle to get through and to become a skydiver, and now for you the most rewarding are being able to guide these people through exactly that. That's exactly the same thing with me. Every jump that I look back on aren't the crazy fun ones. They're not the close calls. They're the ones where someone was terrified. Someone was super, super scared of this or that or aspect of it, or an AFF student that just couldn't get it. And it's watching that light bulb come on. It's watching them accept, and then not just accept doing something that terrifies them, but end up having an amazing time when they do it, and you watch them walk away a different person.
Mate, I mean, I've got, you know, lifelong friends that have gone from one introduction to this sport to, you know, learning to do it.
Yep.
Friends who never ever took another step, but are still my friends to this day. People writing thank you letters.
Indeed,
you know?
indeed.
And silly shit like this, mate. And it's just, you know, the way it opens doors is crazy.
It really is. Well,
It
and
is.
it's still it's the main reason why this is and will always be the best sport in the world.
Oh,
today.
it's truly.
And the best damn
For the
job.
young jumpers, mate, you know, it's like never fail to learn, mate. This is all about learning.
Yeah.
Every single day in every way. Don't think you got it, you know, because the minute you think you've got it, let me tell you, it'll fucking whack the shit out
Damn
of you.
right. Damn right.
It'll explain to you quite happily, you don't got it.
Yep. And again, it's funny because everybody that sat here and talked to me has said the exact same things and the important points. The takeaway is the community.
Yeah.
The takeaway is what you get to give, not what you take.
Right.
And never ever stop learning.
Yeah.
Those are some damn good
Yeah,
lessons.
dude. Just give it back all the way, you know. Give
Absolutely.
it back, pay it forwards,
Absolutely.
and you'll be in good shape, you know.
Absolutely.
That whole thing's brilliant.
All right, well, Mr. Mark Norman, what an enjoyable time sitting and shooting the shit.
Boom. I hope we get to do this some more.
Oh, we'll definitely do it again. We've got a lot of stories we did not touch on, wild and deep, crazy times that maybe we'll come back around to.
What, at that time?
Yeah, we'll just leave it for next time around. Once again, guys, you got Mark Norman here. This is The Fucking Pilot. Thanks for tuning in, and blue skies.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dean. You're a rock star. Love it.
Well, there you have it. Another episode of the Lunatic Fringe podcast brought to you as always by, well, wait, not as always, actually. Brought to you now by Gyro. Formerly known as NZ Aerosports, you'll head to gyro.com for their next level line of canopies. By Pussfoot, the Extreme Sports Collective. Head over to pussfoot.com to check it out. By Summit Parachute Systems, check out summitparachutesystems.com to talk to Jarrett Martin and the gang about kick-ass pilot rigs, rigging courses, and more. By Flyaway Indoor Skydiving, go to flyawaytn.com and check out all the cutting-edge stuff to come. By Pure Spectrum CBD, head to purespectrumcbd.com to check out their wide range of CBD products. And as for us, head to the lunaticfringepodcast.com to listen to any of the hundreds of episodes currently available, hit the link for our YouTube channel, pick up your copy of the Lunatic Fringe book or The Accidental Stripper, and get a sneak peek at upcoming guests. Once again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.